those of you that know anything about Brian Shapiro, you will know that I'm not only a good golfer and just amazing with the ladies. All you ladies out there listening can attest to that, I'm sure. But I'm also this is actually true, folks. The ladies stuff was probably not true, but this is true. I won a gold medal in the Junior Olympics for ping pong, for table tennis. That's right. When I was 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, I just destroyed everybody, including the young kids who probably now are working in the Wuhan lab. I actually was competing against them in a lot of Chinese that I played against in table tennis. They're very good at table tennis. And I won. I destroyed them all. I won a gold medal in the Junior Olympics. Now, how far did it get me? Well, nowhere, obviously, clearly. Maybe it made me a nut as far as being competitive because I played competitive sports at such a young age. But I was a really good ping pong player. I've dabbled in betting on table tennis during this time. I've dabbled in it because on William Hill and a couple other betting apps, there's not a lot of betting they can offer. So you got these guys that are probably making $20,000 a year in Moscow to play professional table tennis, and they're not very good, by the way, which worries me because they're not making a lot of money, and I don't really trust it. But I can tell you positively, in the last couple months, I am up, and I've made money betting on table tennis, but not as much as this guy. Stein, tell us about this story about a guy that won $25,000 on a $100 bet betting on ping pong.
Yep, Las Vegas Review-Journal reports a gambler in Nevada threw down $100 on a 10-game parlay with William Hill's app, and it was all on table tennis games. The bettor nailed all 10 winners and netted him a whopping $24,741, so almost $25,000.
Do you know how first of all, I'm sure the guy who put this 10-team parlay together, I shouldn't say 10-team, 10 Moscow table tennis player parlay, probably didn't know what he was doing. I'm sure it was luck. I don't think there was much skill involved here. There's not a lot of information you can get on some of these table tennis players, I found out. You can find out their record, and you can find out how they've been playing that day, but other than that, there's really not a lot.
So it's a tough handicap then.
Well, here's what I do. I can tell you how I handicap these table tennis matches. Here's the deal. Just like Highlight, do you remember Highlight? You have to win a certain number of matches to keep your job.
I remember the movie where Johnny Depp played Whitey Bulger, and he murdered someone who owned a Highlight league.
I can't attest to that because that has nothing to do with table tennis.
It was called Black Mass.
Okay. I don't know where to go with that. I really don't. I haven't seen the movie. But what I will say...
Another non sequitur.
Yeah, thank you. But the reason why I brought up Highlight is because, like Highlight in these table tennis, from what I've learned, they have to win a certain number of matches to keep their job. Now, a lot of these guys are friends. So if a guy's having a bad day and he's lost 3 or 4 matches in a row and his record's not good, he's going to win the next match. I also look at the head-to-head matchups and how players fared against another one. Usually when somebody defeats somebody and embarrasses them, the next match they play, sometimes in the same day, the other guy wins. It's not personal between these guys. They're all friends. They're all trying to keep their jobs and make it. So
there's a balance involved.
Yes, absolutely.
And you make sure that the balance is consistent.
And you never take favorites in these matches. Some of these guys minus 180, minus 200. A lot of these dogs are winning these matches. So that's how I do it.
Nick Bogdanovich from William Hill, we've had him on the show a few times. He said, I've never seen anything like this in 38 years, and he continues to be shocked at the volume of bets that have been placed on Russian table tennis during the shutdown.
Well, I mean, it's the same reason why The Last Dance has gotten about 16 million views, and the draft got 55 million views in a couple of days, despite the fact that it was very average, in my opinion. Yeah. People miss sports. People want sports. And hopefully Las Vegas can get an NBA team as well.
Brian, have you ever also figured out, or maybe JD, you've done some research on this, have you figured out why the Russian table tennis players have to wear such tight shorts? That doesn't make any sense to me.
No clue.
I feel like I'd want to be free and loose.
I feel it. Yeah, I agree with that, actually. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, I can attest to that because I was definitely wearing those shorts for a good portion of my ping pong career. You're talking about the nut huggers, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
By the way, they wore those in the 80s. Those great Celtic teams of the 80s, they wore those as well.
That is a technical term.
Table tennis is a little different than tennis in this aspect. And by the way, tennis players wore those too back in the day. The problem with the floppiness of some of those long shorts, table tennis, you're in small quarters and you have to make very fast movements. So I actually do prefer the shorter shorts. It also does boost your testosterone level. I don't know if you knew that. If you have low testosterone levels, if you wear tight shorts, it'll actually raise your testosterone levels.
And it will actually hurt your sperm.
Well, that won't help Stein, though.
It will constrict your sperm, which will make you less likely to actually be able to reproduce.
But that
if there's some table tennis players out there that are thinking about having kids,
yeah.
I think that's a bad idea anyway.
Well, it's a bad idea for Stein to wear those types of shorts because he already watches too much porn and masturbates too much on a daily basis.
So last thing for Las Vegas, you're going to see if you have allergies. Typically, you're going to the next couple of weeks. The levels of pollen are very, very high. You're going to probably see a lot of similar or symptoms similar to corona or to COVID-19, and it will probably not actually be the virus.